Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today we're going to go back to the early 80s to 1984 to talk about one of my favorite bands of all time, Echo and the Bunnymen. And this is probably their most famous album, Ocean Rain. It's got the Killing Moon on it, which I remember hearing for the first time in the Donnie Darko movie, which, by the way, there are two versions of Donnie Darko, and one of them, they replace the Killing Moon with, I forget which song. But anyway, that's where I heard this band for the first time, and ever since, I've been addicted. But anyway, I love this album. I'm very excited to talk about it. So let's dive in with track number 1, which is called Silver.
My planet sweet on a silver salver, bailed out my worst fears. Cause man has to be his own savior. Blind sailors, imprisoned jailers, God tamers know what to blame us. The sky is blue, my hands untied, a world that's true through our clean eyes. Just look at you with burning lips, you're living proof at my fingertips.
Yeah, I just love this song, and I like what he's trying to get at here with the lyrics. You know, he says man has to be his own savior, and I really like that because it's true. If there's a problem in your life, if you don't like how your life is going, if you're addicted to drugs, whatever it is, the only way things are going to change for the better is if you want them to change. If it comes from here, not from out there, right? If you've got help from friends and family and strangers, I mean, that's just a bonus. You can't rely on that. Anything that you want to get done, any change you want made, has to come from within. It's got to be self-generated, because basically it doesn't really matter how much help you're given. If you don't want to actually do something, you're not going to do it, right? You could have all the money in the world and be a drug addict and never go to rehab because you don't want to, right? You have to be your own savior. You have to want to change. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't have the ability to do so, or they don't want to. So, you know, I dig what he's saying here. It's definitely true. You know, I struggle with that myself, where basically sometimes I will succumb to laziness, right? And I won't actually do something that I know I have to do just because, you know, some BS reason I make up. But anyway, so that's Silver. I really like this song. But let's move on to track 2, which is called Nocturnal Me. Yeah, I just love the lyrics at the beginning of this clip. I'm going to repeat them for you guys. He says, "Do or die, what's done is done. True beauty lies on the blue horizon." So in other words, you know, don't spend your whole life regretting things that you did or that you didn't do. Don't live in the past. You know, don't let your memories dictate the rest of your life, essentially, because the beauty lies in that blue horizon over there where you're not sure what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect, and that's the beauty of it, right? You know, you get a second chance, so to speak, in the future. But if you're just constantly, you know, living with guilt and constantly thinking about all the things you did that are just driving you crazy, you're never going to get anywhere, right? So you got to constantly think about the future You got to take what you can from the past. You got to learn from your mistakes, of course, but you've got to look towards the future. You got to plan for a better tomorrow. You have to think positively, because if you don't, you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to be like the guy on Silver who just can't get anything done because, you know, he's playing the short game, not the long game, right? Because a lot of laziness involves realizing that something's going to take forever to do. So you don't want to invest that much time in it. So you just give up, or you don't even try in the first place. But anyway, so that's Nocturnal Me. Let's move along to track 3, which is called Crystal Days.
Tattered and torn and born to be, building a world where we can purify our misfit ways and magnify our crystal days.
So this is kind of a sad song, in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. You know, that might be confusing, but I'll tell you why. Because basically, I imagine a character who's existed on track 1 and track 2 and now track 3, where basically he's been trying to psych himself up. He's been trying to think positively. You know, he's been trying to tell himself, man is his own savior. If he wants something done, if he wants to better his life, he's got to do it himself. He can't rely on anybody else, really. But now, on Crystal Days, he's found a woman and he's in love with her, and he split his heart right in two, as he puts it. So in other words, he's no longer his only savior. He's putting some of that onto this new girlfriend of his, who he expects to probably marry and have kids with one day. So in other words, he's no longer the sole driver of his destiny. He's kind of putting half of it into her lap, so to speak. So it's a sad song in that regard, if you think about it, because basically we had a guy who was very self-driven, or at least he was getting there, but now he's just kind of reverted back a little bit to trying to depend on other people for his own happiness. So that's kind of what the song means to me. I mean, it's a little romantic, you could say. You can interpret it that way, but I like to think of it a little bit more pessimistically, as I mentioned, you know, with this guy reverting back to his old ways. But anyway, that's how I think of this song. But let's move along to track number 4, which is called The Yo-Yo Man.
Collecting the bones of my friends tonight, sowing the seeds in a fruitless land. You know, when prayers all hit the ground, there is no harder hand. Flames on your skin of snow turn cold, cold as the wind that blows through my headstone.
So I like the image of a yo-yo man who basically, he feels like he's on a tether, right? He's a yo-yo, so he can only go so far in his life. And he can only go so far in his life because of reasons that he's, you know, making up. Like, oh, maybe it's because of where I live, or it's because of my personality, or it's because I don't know enough people, or because I don't make enough money, or I'm ugly and people don't want to date me, or whatever it is, right? So he feels like he only has this radius from his yo-yo to work with when it comes to doing anything in his life. So in other words, he's a yo-yo man, right? He's restricted. He doesn't feel like he can do anything. He feels like there's only so much he can do, and everything else is just impossible and it's just a pipe dream and blah blah blah, right? So he's this hero of ours is just constantly reverting back to his old self. He was doing so well on Silver and Nocturnal Me, but now he's gone back to being like, you know, kind of pessimistic and thinking that he can't really, he's not as lucky as other people, so that's why he's not succeeding, right? He's putting the blame on other people again instead of on himself. So come on, guy, you need to you need to think positively again. You were doing so well at the beginning of the album, and now you're reverting back. So come on. But anyway, so that's the Yo-Yo Man. That's what it means to me. We're gonna skip Thorn of Crowns because I actually don't like that song. I'm not gonna lie. So unfortunately, it's the one song I don't like. But we're gonna skip to the major song off the album, track 6, which is called The Killing Moon. Yeah, I mean, this is such an epic song by this point. It's such a classic. You know, you've probably heard it before a million times, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, so what this song means to me is you've got this guy who's completely like caught in the trap that this woman has set for him, metaphorically. So in other words, like he's just totally gonna do whatever this girl wants him to do, you know, and he can't escape it, right? He's just totally succumbed to her beauty and to her flirtations and to her charms and everything like that. So this guy, you know, as I've mentioned, he started out psyching himself up, trying to be his own man, trying to be independent, and now he's just going completely downhill, starting from track 3, where he's just completely like given himself up to someone else's whims, right? So he's no longer the captain of his ship, so to speak. This woman is now the captain of his ship, and he's going to do whatever she wants him to do. And if she leaves this guy, he's going to be a complete mess, right? He's going to be just absolutely in bad shape. So the Killing Moon is another way of saying like a woman who is just so charming and beautiful that you just can't escape them, right? It's almost like the siren of ancient Egypt, right? You don't want to listen to the siren song because you're going to get pulled in and you're going to crash your ship and die. Don't do it. It's bad news. So that's what this song means to me. You know, you can interpret it a few ways probably, but I like this one personally. But anyway, let's move along to track 7, which is called 7 Seas.
Stab a sorry heart with your favorite finger, paint the whole world blue, and stop your tears from stinging. Hear the cavemen singing, good news they're bringing. toy shell.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites from the album. And I like what he's talking about, because basically swimming the seven seas is like a metaphor for gaining perspective on your situation, right? Because, for example, let's say you went through a traumatic event and you just automatically assume that there's no way anybody else in the world went through something similar to what you went through, right? Whether it was like a manic episode, or you got addicted to drugs and you did a whole bunch of awful things, or whatever it is, right? You think that you're some unique snowflake and there's nobody else in the world who can understand what you went through. Well, guess what? If you swim the seven seas, as our hero has done, you gain some perspective and you start to learn that you're not as special and unique as you think you are, right? There are many other people who have been in similar situations, and I think it's a comforting thought to know that you're not alone in a lot of ways, that even though you feel like you're your own person and you've had such unique experiences in your life, the good and the bad ones, there are other people who can relate to you, that you can possibly talk to and vent to, and you can help each other out, so to speak. So, like, for example, I helped somebody out recently in my own life because we both went through a very similar experience, and we both kind of thought that maybe other people wouldn't know what it was like to go through that experience, right? At least the person who I talked to really thought that her own experience was very, very unique and that nobody could relate to it. Well, guess what? I could relate to it, and it made her so happy to know that there's at least one other person who understands what she went through. So that's why I like this song. He's trying to remind you to try to gain some perspective, to not just think in your own little bubble, in your own little world in your mind. Try to understand that there are many people just like you, and that's a very freeing and positive and loving thought. So I dig it. But anyway, let's move along to track 8, which is called My Kingdom.
You kill when you talk and the enemy weakens. Your words start to walk when you're not even speaking. If my heart is at war, its soldiers are bleeding. If my heart is at war, its soldiers are dead. Burn the skin off and climb the rooftop, thy will be done. Bite the nose off and make it the most of kingdom, kingdom, kingdom.
Oh no, our poor hero has done what we were afraid he was going to do. He's completely given himself to this girl, and she's dumped him. She's gone, man. She's saying all these hurtful things, and as he says at the end of this clip, he's basically like ready to just go to the roof and jump off. Oh my goodness, guy, come on, man. You're trying to gain perspective on our last song, and now you're thinking about killing yourself. You need to chill out, right? She's not the only girl for you. A lot of people get caught up in that, right? That the person that they have been in a relationship with for years, maybe, they just kind of think like, oh, there's nobody else in the world who I have this chemistry with. It's just this one person. And, we like the same things and we did all the same things together. Like, there's no way I'll ever be able to replace her, right? I mean, obviously you can't replace her entirely, but you can replace a lot of the same things with somebody else. So our poor guy, he went from being very independent at the beginning of the album, and now he's completely given himself over to this woman who's crushed his heart and soul and is leaving this guy. So his heart is in a war, and all of its soldiers are dying, as he puts it. So our poor hero, he needs to stick to his plan here from the beginning of the album and just be an independent person and not and never really give yourself up completely to anybody, right? Because that's where the danger comes in. So anyway, our poor guy, his kingdom The name of the song is My Kingdom. His kingdom is being overthrown by this woman. But anyway, so let's move on to the last track of the album, track 9, which is called Ocean Rain, the name of the album. Let's check it out.
All hands on deck at dawn, sailing to sadder shores. Your port in my heavy storms harbors the blackest thoughts. I'm at sea again, now your hurricane brought down this ocean rain to bathe me again. My ships are safe, can you hear its tender frame screaming from beneath the waves, screaming from beneath the waves.
Yeah, this is the classic, post-relationship imagery where, you feel like you're lost at sea looking for a port to dock in. But of course, the wake of her breakup is translated to stormy weather on the seas. So he's sailing in the stormy weather, trying to find a port to dock in, which is another relationship, right? But the part that really interests me, though, is when he's talking about the hull of the ship beneath the waves. He says, it's screaming from beneath the waves. So in other words, I imagine a guy like him who feels like he can't really show how he actually feels, which is, he's totally depressed and completely just spiraling down mentally. That's like his subconscious that he's not, letting anyone else in on. But, his actual interaction with the world is, I'm totally fine. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. I'll move on. I'll find someone new. Like, you don't have to worry about me, blah, blah, blah. But really deep down under the waves, he's a total mess. He can't go back to the beginning of the album where he's thinking positively and he was trying to be his own man and he's trying to be the captain of his ship. He's just completely been destroyed by this woman, and as far as he's concerned, like his life is just a complete endless storm. It's an endless storm on the seas. So our poor hero, right? He took a chance. He looked out into the blue horizon, from that earlier song, and he found this woman who was his hope for a good future. Right, because he was trying to remind himself at the beginning of the album that you can't live in the past. You can't let the memories of your guilt get to you. You have to look towards the future because the future is where happiness is, right? And so, the future was this woman and he just completely approached it the wrong way. He just gave everything to this woman and he was left with nothing. And because of that, now he's just totally destroyed when she leaves this guy. And he's out at sea again, but it's not calm seas, it's stormy seas. So he's just like, he needs a lot of work now, right? He needs to find like a therapist or something. So our poor guy, he went through this little journey, going up, 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 and then down, down, down. So our poor hero, hopefully he gets his act together on the next album. We'll never know. But anyway, so that's Ocean Rain. It's a really lovely, very poetic album. There are a couple songs that I'm not really that fond of, but mostly this is an excellent album. It's a must listen. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion, especially for The Killing Moon. I mean, come on, that song is so good. But there are other great songs on it, like Silver and Crystal Days and Seven Seas, So I think it's a must listen. But anyway, hopefully you just thought it was interesting. Hopefully you enjoy it. You know, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. I'd really appreciate it. But anyway, that's Echo and the Bunnymen. Check them out and have a good one.